I'm excited to share some of my biggest pros and my biggest cons of living in North Scottsdale. Let's get into it. Okay, so one of the biggest pros of living here is the scenery and the things you can do outside. Yep, all things hiking, biking, golfing, walking, really whatever you want. We have it here in North Scottsdale. You can go horseback riding, you can go out on your ATVs. There's really not much you can't do outside. Caveat with that, which will this be in a con further down the road, just sucks when it's 110, 115 outside. But the benefit is, the higher north you go, the cooler it is because you get away from the concrete jungle of downtown Phoenix and downtown Scottsdale. All right, so some of my favorite places to go hiking is Gateway Trailhead, Tom's Thumb, Pinnacle Peak, Brown's Ranch, and Pima Dynamite. And what's actually kind of cool is all of those trails connect one way or another. Not only am I close to the trails 10-15 minutes from my house up here in North Scottsdale, but I can travel just south and a little bit west, the North Phoenix Preserve. I also have Apache Wash, which is a part of the whole Phoenix Preserve system. If you're a golfer, being up in North Scottsdale is gonna be your paradise. There are so many courses. I'm not a golfer myself, but living here in North Scottsdale has made me want to start golfing, because realistically, right down the street is Pinnacle Peak Golf Course, there's Troon, there's TPC, right, where the Waste Management Open is held. There are so many amazing golf courses in North Scottsdale. I almost feel ashamed that I'm not a golfer. More to that to come. All right, so as a real estate agent, I would be remiss to not talk about this con. North Scottsdale is expensive. The average home on the market right now in this area, in A5255 and others, is around $2 million. Not to say, definitely not my house, but not to say there aren't many listings that are under that, but they're far and few between. Can you find an amazing property in North Scottsdale under $1 million? Yes. There actually just happened to be a house up the street in my neighborhood that was a little rundown, outdated, built in the 2000s, that just sold for $875,000. So yes, it's definitely possible to find a home up in North Scottsdale under $1 million. But needless to say, that also helps out with your resale value and other things. Cost of living, essentially, right? It's all comparative. Like, I wouldn't say it's any more expensive from a cost of living standpoint to live up in North Scottsdale than it is in Phoenix or anything else, right? Like my gas, my groceries aren't any more expensive, right? So you do get the benefit of Arizona taxes, Arizona fuel, all the things, right? But overall, the price point up in North Scottsdale is pretty high. One of my biggest gripes of being up in North Scottsdale, and this is because we have a motor home, is we have an HOA and a home that doesn't allow our motor home to be parked here. So I'm paying an additional anywhere from like $300 to $500 a month, depending on the month, for storage, which is basic covered parking with a 110 plug-in to trickle charge my motorhome. So that's the downside. Lots of HOAs, lots of rules, everything's pretty cookie cutter, but at the same time, one of the beautiful parts about North Scottsdale when it comes to like residential living, everything's kind of tucked away. It's not like you have just stacks and stacks of home, rows and rows. Everything kind of has washes and berms in different areas, which makes it super beautiful. If you're looking for something without an HOA, this might not be the perfect spot for you. However, there are some HOAs that are pretty amazing. Ours is relatively low. Some get ridiculously expensive, and all the things in between. If you have questions on HOAs, feel free to reach out. I definitely don't know everything, but I can learn and look it up for it. All right, now that we know how expensive it is to live up here in North Scottsdale, there is some benefits to it. You do have high-end restaurants, high-end shopping, and a lot of things that are super close. The Scottsdale Quarter from my house is about 10 minutes. The Kierland Center, exactly the same place, just across the street. So if I want to go have a super fancy dinner, steak, sushi, it's close. If I want to go to some of the nicest places to shop, because it's in the same area, right? A little bit more boutique-y, some different things, Now, if I'm wanting to go to like a big Nordstrom's or whatever else, you go down to the mall and it's only about 20-minute drive from my house. Getting to the airport, it's only around 35 minutes, right? But North Scottsdale as a whole, which is just below the 101 and past some of the most convenient shopping, dining, trails. Really, the lifestyle you can live up here is fantastic. So for all my folks who are wondering, is it a great place to raise a family? I would say yes, 100%. One of the largest factors is that it's one of the safest communities in Arizona, right? Crime rates are super low, like all the things, right? School districts are phenomenal. And there's actually kind of a mix. It's a little funky up here in North Scottsdale because we have these weird cutouts of where districts are. Where I am at, which is Pinnacle Peak and essentially Miller Road, I am considered Paradise Valley School District, right? I'm not in Paradise Valley, I'm in Scottsdale, but my district is considered Paradise Valley. There's other areas really close to me that are still considered Scottsdale School District. So that is something to consider and look at. Right, we have people that travel from Mesa, Gilbert, Chandler, all those places up to my school or my daughter's school to get the education, because Paradise Valley School District has a lot of phenomenal resources that just some of the other districts don't have. With Arizona being an open enrollment state where you can live basically anywhere, and as long as there's room, you can enroll your kid in any school you want to, as long as you're willing to drive there. Our benefit is we live up here. But I would say it's absolutely spectacular. It's safe, it's clean, so much to do for kids, right? Like museums, play places, all the different things. There are some places that you have to drive far to. For the most part, you can do most things right here in North Scottsdale. Bowling, escape rooms, Bam Kazam, which is like live action video game as you and your family are trying to get across, similar to an escape room. It's kind of fun. We've done it a bunch of times. Putt-putt, right? All the things. If you have a family and you're wondering, is North Scottsdale the spot for you? I would say it definitely can be, or it should be at least in your list of areas to look at. All right, so here's a con. Not so much for myself. If you're having to travel into downtown Phoenix on the regular, 30 to 45 minutes commute is pretty standard, and it actually can get up closer to an hour and 15 minutes, depending on traffic and if there's any accidents. So living up in North Scottsdale is great, depending on where you need to live, right? There's not a whole lot of public transportation up here, so it's not like you can get from one side of North Scottsdale to the other in public transit. There's not a ton of that up here. I would also say some of the roads do or do not have sidewalks, right? So Pinnacle Peak, a great section of it doesn't even have sidewalks. So if you're trying to just walk, get around some different things, can be kind of a pain in the butt that way. I would say overall the traffic we have up in North Scottsdale is pretty dang easy. Even from our sections in the 101, except during Barrett-Jackson, Waste Management Open, it didn't really affect us with the Super Bowl, but those two things that happen every year, essentially, they can cause a little bit of headache for the few days that it's happening. Again, overall, traffic is phenomenal. We do pick up quite a bit more traffic during the winter time when we have snowbirds coming in. And then right around May, we get reduced traffic again. I typically also get 2 or 3 new neighbors every single year when the snowbirds come into town, and then by May, they're gone again. So no big deal. Just try not to get frustrated. Just remember, old people driving can be a little scary, but just give them the extra room. Just saying. Okay, so this next topic can be a pro and can be a con, depending on the time of year we're talking about. And that's the weather up here in North Scottsdale. From, I would say about May until about October, it's hot. Like sometimes can feel like the surface of the sun hot. Like you don't dare to go barefoot in your backyard, stepping on concrete. That's hot. It'll burn your feet. However, from about October until about May is absolutely fantastic. And this is coming from a guy who came originally from Salt Lake City, Utah. I will take the sunshine and the heat any day over the cold and the snow. Because during the wintertime, I'm in shorts, t-shirt, even sometimes I get chilly. Yes, you get acclimated. So it's hoodie weather. I've never really had to wear an actual coat here, except if I'm going up to Flagstaff to get my snow fix in, right? Because Flagstaff is only 2 hours away if you really miss the snow. But then during the summertime, it's really not terrible. And Here's my logic behind it. During the summertime, I go from my air-conditioned house to my air-conditioned vehicle to an air-conditioned building. I personally do not work out in it, do not live in it. I very minimally have to be out in the middle of the day doing just about anything, even real estate, right? Like very few times am I out middle of the day when it's the hottest part, unless I'm putting open house signs out or I'm putting like a listing sign up or something, right? Or taking some videos or photos for a new listing coming, right? But I can usually, and I would typically plan that early in the morning or late in the evening, golden hour. Can it get hot? Yes. I've seen it reach, at least on my thermostat of my car, up to about 138 degrees. However, on the flip side, I will take the heat any day compared to the crappy weather that you're seeing. Hurricanes. We have some family in Wyoming that they were negative 30 degrees. No thanks. I would never like that. So yeah, I'll take the mild winters here with the heat any day compared to a really crappy winter and have a decent summer. And for all those thinking, well, in the summertime, can you still play golf? Can you still go running? And the answer is yes. Courses get real cheap in the middle of the day when it's summertime for golfers. That's actually might be the reason why I start golfing, right? Is so I can get in kind of cheap. No one's going to be watching me play and see how crappy I am. All of that stuff. As a trail and ultra runner myself, you just get up early, right? You beat the sun. Trails open with the sun rising, so usually around 4:30 in the morning. Get out, get your miles in before the sun comes blazing up on like super long days and all this stuff. I literally just make it possible for me to get my run in, get done, get back home, and enjoy the air conditioning again. Needless to say, we definitely have some of the best weather for runners, for golfers, for those that just want to be outside on a regular basis all year long. The only thing you have to adjust is how early or how late you get outside. So what do you guys think? Do you want to live in North Scottsdale? Does it sound like a place you could call home? If so, my name is Cody Stevens. I'm a real estate agent with Real Broker here in North Scottsdale, and I would love to show you all around my town. Hit me up. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram as well at codystevens.ginger. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Woo!